Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast. This is your number one South African cricket podcast. We come to you every Monday, and tonight we're a little bit late, but we had to accommodate, and you need to get used to this because when we start talking this topic, it's going to be at this time of night, which is fine because you need to get your body clocks ready for the Major League Cricket. You need to get your body clocks ready for Americans being part of the game, and this is the time. That 2024 ICC T20 World Cup. Good luck. This is where the time. This is where everything's going to happen. But yeah, outside of that, please do follow us on our Twitter handle at Full Quarter Pod. We've moved over. We are on Spotify. We're on Apple Music. We are also on YouTube. On YouTube, you can find us still at One World Sports Radio, but on Spotify and Apple Music, we are a Full Quota podcast. So do check out the audio version, but the video version is still the best. And so, you know me, and let me introduce you to Tim because Tim is back again because that's who we are. We're a duo. There's no solo in this. Tim, how are you doing? SAA is not doing well, but the Ashes are fun.
The Ashes is very exciting. It's not our topic for this evening, but the Ashes is certainly. I think it's certainly going to be a topic we will discuss at some stage throughout the series. But yes, I'm doing good, mate. Can't complain.
Cool. So today, there's another T20 league that we're going to be talking about. We know we spoke about the SA20, and we'd like to think this is the home of podcasting for SA20, right? And then now we're going to create a new home for the South Africans in a new T20 league. And this is the Major League Cricket. We've got Nate Hayes in the background waiting to come on to talk about this new sensation. T20 has now gone to Hollywood. That's what it is. And so now we're going to be talking to Nate because last time we spoke to Nate, this was in the offing, and now it's about to happen. And it's happened in the way like SA20, like the International T20 in Dubai, with this franchise model, and a lot of Indian franchises have bought into. There's some Australians there in the mix as well. We'll find out a little bit more about that. But the key thing is that if you're wondering where your South Africans will be in this off season, they're going to be in the US. They're not going to be in county cricket. They're not going to be here doing preseason in cold South Africa. They will be in the US. So let's bring Nate on. Let's have a chat. Let's talk about it because this is the next best thing, and you can use this at a braai this weekend. Whenever people are talking about cricket, and be like, "Yeah, no, there's a team in Seattle. It's got Quinny de Kock there. You know, that's what it is." But let's bring on Nate. Hi, Nate. How are you doing?
Hey guys, it's great to see you again. Thanks for inviting me on again. And I'm sorry, I'm the reason that the show's late today. So
no, it's fine. South Africans will get used to this.
We have to get used to this, as Mpho said. If we're going to watch the major competition.
Look, I watched the US Open yesterday, so I slept at 5:30 in the morning watching Wyndham Clark go through that back nine like he's a king, which is cool because but we shouldn't do sports in LA, and I have a problem with these teams, but we'll talk about them. Last time we chatted to you, Nate, it was obviously minor league cricket. It was having their inaugural season. The South Africans were there, who moved over. They weren't the biggest of names, but there was some Proteas, the Dane Peets here and there. Rusty Turon naturalizes as an American. Justin Dill from the under 19 team that won that beautiful World Cup, the only trophy that people think South Africans have. And we've been having that, right? And so that was called minor league cricket. Can you give our fans an explanation of what Major League Cricket is?
yes, Major League Cricket is the pinnacle of cricket in the USA. It's the top league, and we have slots on each team for domestic players and slots obviously for the overseas players. We had a draft in March, and they drafted 9 rounds of players. 8 of those rounds, these are domestics. 8 of those rounds were full domestics, and the 9th round was a U23 round. The U23s aren't mandatory to be playing in the 11, but they have to be. There has to be at least one U23 on each team. So 9 total rounds for the 6 teams, and that is 54 players that are American or that we qualify as American. And in order to qualify, they had to sign an agreement with Major League Cricket that if they hadn't yet reached the ICC requirement to qualify for the national team, they would stay in country and go by those rules. Stay in country 10 months of the year until they do reach that requirement. So so far, everyone who's signed those with Major League has lived up to it. So that's a big plus. But that's caused a little bit of some confusion here, where a lot of the cricket faithful here in the USA still some still don't consider these guys as domestics themselves because they haven't been here 3 years. So that's caused a little bit of a problem. Sometimes I think that's a little bit overstated because honestly, if you're going to come here and sign away your ability to play in any other league in the world, you talked about some of the South Africans who they couldn't play in the South African T20. They had initially put their name in the draft, but when they found out they couldn't, that the amount of time they'd be in South Africa, went past 2 months, they had to pull themselves out of the draft. So they are sacrificing something to be here. And I'll tell you what, the South African T20 league has been really impressive too. I know we're not talking about that right now, but it kind of fits in with everything else with these, the IPL franchises owning the teams, and we have four teams here that have IPL inclusion, 3 of them majority owned by IPL teams. So so it's only going to be a 5 games per team season. It's going to be a really short season, and then we're going to have a typical IPL style playoff. So it's going to be a real short season this year. The Jason Roy thing, that they really blew that up over there in England, didn't they?
That's it.
Look, I think SA20s is the best T20 league in the world outside of the IPL. I think the Big Bash is. I think you might have something in America, and and that's what I think Major League is. It's obviously a step up from minor league. This is the bright lights of what cricket would have ever looked like in America, right? And
let's hope so.
Extent,
yeah.
Then so the 6 franchises: LA, Seattle, San Francisco, Texas, New York, and Washington, right? Is there a reason why they're there? Because if you look at the minor league teams, there are places, markets that are not included. Atlanta, North Carolina, where you are, that I would have thought would have deserved or would have earned a team in the market, as well as having 3 teams in the Western Seaboard, which is, for me, from a viewership perspective, the only people who are attracting are Australia. Everyone else is and so it's actually quite interesting. But do you know kind of why they chose those, or were they because we knew the IPL franchises were involved and there's so many people? So did they get to pick, or were they told by Major League Cricket?
I think it's part of their marketing strategy more than anything else. I think it's part of the strategy to first of all, they haven't developed the stadia yet. They have one stadium in Dallas that's being built. That's going to be the home stadium of the Texas team, the Texas Super Kings, which are Chennai Super Kings' own team. And then the other venue that'll be played this season will be here in North Carolina at Morrisville at Church Street Park, which I rave about that all the time. So they will have these 2 venues this season. So only one team will really be playing at home this year. They won't have any games on the Western Seaboard. So the time zone thing, yes, Dallas itself is a tough time zone. It's tough enough for the rest of the world. Outside of maybe England, and you guys can still handle it. But yeah, it's I think the biggest reason they did that was because the fans, they want to appeal to the existing cricket fans, and the existing cricket fans aren't going to know what Morrisville, North Carolina is. They're, so you name a team, the Morrisville, whatever. Our minor league team is now called the Morrisville Raptors, which I want to say is the best team. It's definitely the best franchise.
You can call them
But
the Hornets. Fine, you know.
oh, that would be cool having the Hornets, the whole Hornet. Yeah, I would love it. Yeah, get the pinstripes. Yeah, you got to get the. I love it. Get the pinstripes. I love it. Yeah, but we might get in a little bit of trouble with Michael Jordan if we
No,
if we
he's
do
selling,
that.
so it's fine.
Right. But the NBA is pretty forgiving about that type of thing too. You know, they like to have their images out there. But yeah, I think that was the big thing. People in Mumbai, people in Chennai aren't going to know what Morrisville is, but they know what New York is. They know what Los Angeles is, San Francisco, and also these are Seattle, San Francisco. These are in Texas, all of Texas pretty much, but especially Dallas and Houston. These are big tech areas, and in big tech areas you have a lot of people from the subcontinent who have the expats who've moved here to work. And so, I think that has something to do with it too. Obviously, New York is incredibly diverse. You have people from all cricket playing nations in New York. DC is similar. DC is incredibly diverse. So these are, I think you have good fan bases there. But yes, there's only 6 teams. So sadly, a great community like Atlanta, which has, now Atlanta has 2 minor league cricket teams, but they could easily support a third one. Yeah, so Atlanta misses out, Florida misses out. Yeah,
That was surprising because I thought Florida was because that's where I thought the next cricketing venue was, because we've played games in Florida before.
Yes,
cricket matches. So I thought it'd be a no-brainer, but yeah.
Well, outside of international, go ahead, Tim.
No. Carry on. I lost my question just now. Just carry on.
Sure. Yeah, outside of international cricket, when India plays in Florida, they get a great crowds. CPL, when they first played there, the novelty was still there, and a lot of people went. But they came back the next year, and they had under 1,000 people to most of their games. Yeah, so that's, I think they looked at Florida and said, well, CPL tried that, and we're not going to try it. So otherwise, why not just use an existing stadium that can hold up to 15,000 people? Why not just use that? So I think that's the big thing. They said that's a little bit too risky, and that's why they're coming to Morrisville in the first season. They know, Morrisville doesn't have a huge capacity, but they are putting permanent seats there. So they will have 1,500 permanent seats there, and then room for temporary seating, and also the nice hill in the north end. So they know that if they have games in Church Street, they'll sell out. They know that everyone will come out. The big thing is trying to get people to buy the tickets ahead of time. So that's the trick. Everybody's so used to just rocking up to Church Street Park to watch games. So we have to spread the word. People need to spread the word. Hey, you get your tickets ahead of time to make sure you got a good seat.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing for me, someone who's used to long seasons when it comes to American sports, is the long-term goal of Major League Cricket to go, if it connects, obviously if it brings in people, to go that way, to have more teams, to have a longer season. I love the fact that it's short, like I think it's a 3-week period, 3-4 week. I love that intensity. But for the natural American, is that the way they want to go? Do they want to have it more teams and longer?
I hope so. I really do, because that's how you're going to appeal to the American fans. I should say the mainstream American sports fans. That's how you're going to appeal to them, because we are used to having 6-month sport leagues. We're used to 162 games in a baseball season. And a lot of people make a big deal about the decline of baseball popularity. It's really a fractional thing. It's the worry is that it could be the start of a trend, but really you have a 162 game season per team, and there's over 30 teams in the major leagues, and the average attendance for a game is 26,500. So I'll take that for declining popularity of cricket, right? If we can get there with cricket, if we can get halfway there, I'm not saying cricket should be 162 games. I think I would look for me, I would love to see them take baseball and cricket. I'm sorry, baseball and football. Take the best of both, and do baseball. The great thing about American football, the NFL, is it's one game a week. So you can, and most of the games are on Sunday. So everybody, Sunday is football day. I would like to see, and the great thing about baseball is the Yankees come to town. They play 3 or 4 games. So you get to go. There's 3 or 4 nights you can go see the Yankees if they come to your town. They play a series. The entire baseball calendar is series. So I would like to see cricket become like we love international series, a best of 3s and things like that. I would love to see a best of 3 series on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, or something like that every week, and then you have the whole week to hype it up. You get a little bit of a break, and then you're ready for it to come back again on the weekend. I'd like to see that for 10 weeks or something like that. So you get 30 games per team. To me, that would be amazing. But we don't know if cricket can. We've never seen anything like that in cricket. So that's the everything's a risk, and and also you're dealing with IPL teams who how much attention are they going to give this league? These franchises have. They'll have a team in South Africa. They got obviously their IPL team. Do they want to have a really long season here? So I would love to. I think that's the way to go. If I was designing it, I would go that way. But I don't know all the things.
They've got the money to employ a general manager.
Yeah,
they can employ a general manager to oversee the whole thing, and that way,
right?
That could work. But as you say, this needs to catch fire before that happens.
Yeah, it needs to get some eyes on it, and it needs to show that it's viable first. And also we have with the panic with the Jason Roy situation. Immediately after that, you have articles. Tim Wigmore wrote an article about how they want to limit the overseas players to 4, about how the ICC might limit overseas across these leagues. Now, that's going to hurt non-full member nations, because even in South Africa, if you limit to 4 overseas, well, you're still a full member nation. You still got professional cricketers that are filling these squads that are fairly well known, and you're a cricketing nation too, right? If you do it that would kill the UAE. Obviously, it would secure chances for domestics here, but it would limit our ability to expand the league, because we don't have enough good players to keep growing.
Do you know what I think will happen? Do you know what I think will happen with that? Yeah. Right? Is you'll get guys who will have played for their national teams. They've been flaky here and there. I'm looking at the West Indians actually, right? And they realize that. Similar with Jason Roy, right? I can actually earn more money being a mercenary, right? And even if you limit the overseas players, if I'm not playing for my national team, I would not be probably designated as an overseas player. So these leagues could have an extra designation, which is like you're an overseas player but you're retired, kind of vibe. So it's like a live type of vibe, right?
It could, or they could
have guys just leave,
or they could bridge the gap with associates. And you could say, okay, because they did say full member overseas, and that would be a great thing for the chances of players. So with cricket, there's always like to make this gain on this side, you have to sacrifice so much on the other side. It always seems that way, but.
So, but and this is the one thing I think that I see will be watching this one a little bit more, right? As you've spoken about, in America, the seasons are long. You have a nice little window here, right? You can even start a little bit earlier, right? Around about June. Go throughout just after the NBA playoffs end, the back end of the playoffs, all the way up until the baseball playoffs. You have a window where people aren't necessarily watching baseball. You can compete with it. The only thing from a cricketing perspective you keep competing with is either a summer Ashes or English summer, which is pretty much the only thing. And if there's anything happening in India, but at the end of the day, there's no Indian players in your league, right? So you could have that, right? And the only thing is obviously the CPL, right? And I think for me, this is your direct competition.
Sure.
Having experienced the SA20 and having had my doubts about this franchise system, I really was won over by them. I think the Indian franchise owners, I don't want to speak for the other the other ones, I think, Cricket Victoria and whoever it is, New South Wales, whatever, they really they really wanted to ingratiate themselves in the culture of the city. They really did try. And they did a really great job in South Africa because the South African public was running away from cricket stadiums. They brought
Sure.
everyone back in. And
Right.
they even brought the neutral back in, largely because they made it was like a version of the IPL that was on a smaller budget, but it kind of worked,
Right.
and like I know the Big Bash, but the Big Bash is like I'm watching Australian cricket. This was you've brought the bright lights of Bollywood to South Africa, and
Sure.
you haven't even made it South African. It's that, but
Yeah.
in South Africa, and I think that's what I think Major League Cricket could even be better than SA20, largely because the market size is so large, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we're not even talking, guys. We could have teams in Boston, and Boston is a
Sure.
sports mad city, right?
Yeah. It's
You've
crazy.
got,
Yeah.
I know you've covered pretty much on the West, but Middle America is still there. The South is still there, and you can even if you get like a 12-team league with like
Yeah.
an Eastern or Western conference, and you have the series idea that you have, that gives the IPL owners money 4 days. The
Yeah.
great thing about that for the ICC is that out of that, there'll be a curiosity as to how well the American national men's team is doing, and possibly the women's team as well, right? And
Mhm.
with that, and that market, because that's the final frontier, if you can get into the American market, get a major broadcast deal, you are set for life. You will be, cricket will be, I think cricket could be saved with this move. And so for me, that's where I'm looking at this on some, if this hits,
Yeah.
and I'm like 40% like this is actually going to hit, like Americans are going to enjoy this. If
Yeah.
this hits and it becomes popular, our game in the world will become popular, and we actually might even have test matches in America. Who knows?
Which would be
That's-
which would be amazing. Honestly, I'm a big Test fan. I love Test cricket. I actually try to avoid it oftentimes because of how much I like it. Because I'm trying to immerse. I try to stay immersed in the things that I'm, you know,
Mm,
trying to learn about and trying to help educate people about and stuff like that. And I know Test cricket is like massive escapism to me. I could turn it on.
Yes.
I'll just be like absorbed with that, and then I'll be useless. So, yeah, but I love it. The thing that gets me though is yes, I share the same hopes. I share the same hopes that you do. But we're going to have to wait another year to find out because this is going to be such a short season. And yes, it's great to have the short, it's nice and brief. We waited so long to announce so many things. Major League Cricket waited so long to announce so many things that I'm afraid it's just everything, the mainstream American sports fans, they want something that's going to be around that they can, that's going to be around a while. And they want to know about it. And they want to know that every year, Major League Baseball starts at the same time every year. It always has. Every league, the NBA starts at the same time every year. With cricket leagues, you see them shifting around by a month. You'll see this CPL might be September one year, and it might be August the next. And so that's a tricky thing. You want something that's solid. That it takes a while to get there. I just hope that we do. I hope that's one of the goals of Major League. And so this season, I don't see them putting too much effort into trying to appeal to outsiders. I see because it's just such a short league. And what you said that the IPL franchises did in South Africa is great, but that same strategy won't work here. How they connected to the communities. That's excellent. They need to sort out how to do that here. Because it's going to be a different. It's going to have to be a different strategy than that, and that's okay. But I do think until we have a full season, it'll be hard to judge exactly whether this is successful or not. So on one hand, I'm saying let's give them some slack and let them do the first year and and see how that goes, and then we can look at the second year and analyze the potential of it and whether they're hitting their marks. But I think it'll be really hard to tell this year. Unfortunately, I think we'll be asking the same questions in October.
Okay. Tim, I want us to go to the players. So I think let's just move on to that. And
Yes. just give us an idea of the types of South African players that are there this year. Like not the ones that are already there, the ones that have been the big Riley Rousseaus, the Batters and the like. How did that all come about? And yeah, how did the whole process come about with the signing of the South African players, the big players?
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. You broke up a little bit there.
Yeah. He was just saying that how did it come about to get the A-list South African players?
So the
Rabadas,
the overseas guys? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, those guys have such a relationship. Yeah, they have a relationship with some of them have a relationship with multiple IPL franchises. And yeah, there you go. Thank you for bringing that up. That's great. Wow, you got it all sorted out here. I've got something too, but yours is nice here. Yeah, New York is the only team of this group. New York's the only team that doesn't have a minor league South African player. So
yes.
The other 5 franchises all have players who have been here a while from South Africa who played in the minor leagues and now are domestics. But yeah, so I'm more impressed with how the obviously we know the IPL related teams have relationships with these players. Faf in the Super Kings, of course. But I like the fact that the Washington Freedom and San Francisco Unicorns, which are teams that are run by Australian state sides, I like that they brought in some South Africans too. You guys have so many good cricketers down there. It's great to see. It's good to. I'm happy to see Lungi in the mix here. I was curious to see if he would be in or what team he would be in with. And then obviously Onrich with the Washington.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see him bowl in person. I cannot wait. I've never I don't think we've ever seen anything like that in the USA, right? It's
150 kilometers per hour, or I don't know how many miles per hour that is, but that's a lot.
Yeah, he's up there in the high 90s and 90 miles per hour, and yeah, I mean we see that in baseball all the time, but I want to see that in cricket at a cricket ground. I want to be right up at the nets when they're practicing, and I want to see a bouncer, and then I want to see a slower ball at the toes or something like that. You know, I want to see that combination from, but yeah.
Nate,
sorry.
Before you continue, for our audio listeners, for our podcast listeners, right? The Texas Super Kings have Faf du Plessis, Joe Coetzee, Cody Chetty, Calvin Savage, David Miller, Devon Conway, and Rusty Turon in their side. The San Francisco Unicorns have Lungin Giti, Kami LaRue, and David White. David White used to play for the Warriors, like in 2021. He moved over. He's a minor league player there as well. Devil Brevis, Kagiso Abad, and David Visa on MI New York. And you say David Visa is Namibian. He was South African before. So just put him in there so everyone could know, just like David Conway. The Seattle Orchids, Quentin de Kock was their major signing. But then they also brought in Wayne Parnell and Matthew Tromp, who used to play for Gauteng. Him and his brother at that side. Yes.
Yeah, and they're in Houston. Matthew Tromp is in Houston, playing in the minor league there, and they've both done very well, especially Matthew.
Yeah, they've moved across. LA Knight Riders, Riley Rousseau, Shadley van Schalkwyk, and Cornet Dry. You remember Shadley and Cornet, they played for the Knights before they went to Major League. And then Washington Freedom, Oba Spinard, who probably is like the flagship South African in like American cricket. Marco Jansen, Justin Dill, Anoth Nokia, Dane Pete, and Andries Close will be in the Washington Freedom. Nate, I like this, right? I really do, because you're mixing guys who've decided that in South Africa the cricketing journey is over and they decided to embark on new lands. But then you're bringing back probably guys who are at the pinnacle of international cricket, like Devon Conway, Faf, Lungi, Kagiso. Like, you need to watch Kagiso bowl, because I can't
wait.
They keep on talking about Pat Cummins being the best bowler in the world. Kagiso is the best bowler in the world by a country mile.
I think you're right. I agree with you.
Yeah. And so those are the players, right? And then so who are the other international big names? I know we spoke about Jason Roy. He's going to be in LA. He's deciding to become a mercenary. That's what I'm going to call it now. He's going to play around all these leagues around the world, similar to what Faf is. Faf's going to be moving around. Who else is there? I know there are a lot of Australians and some New Zealanders, but yeah, from your side, who are you excited to see?
Well, I mean, just first of all, I didn't say this, but I can't wait to see Quentin de Kock also. So I just want to get that.
And
in
those
there.
grounds are small, guys.
I know. I can't wait to see him. We have so Rashid Khan is going to be on the New York team, as well as Pollard. New York, that Mumbai, the MI New York, Mumbai Indians New York.
My New York, yes.
Yes, mine. It's my New York. Yeah, there you go. Which people, on Twitter, people are always like, it's pronounced my. I'm like, okay. But
let me tell you about that team. They have the biggest stars in the world.
Sure.
Wait, isn't Sam Curran there as well somewhere?
He's not in the major
He's
league
not
team.
there. Okay,
I didn't
cool.
see his name anyway.
They came to South Africa looking all sorts of star-studded youngsters, great South African players. They were like set. They were like, even in the draft, they already had like their 5 retentions already. They look good. Did they not think up the joint? Did they not just like... So that blue Ferrari that
flopped like crazy. Yeah.
Is gonna stall on the highway, just like that Ferrari that is unreliable in F1. So
right.
Yeah, they're great.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. They have tremendous overseas names on the team. That Pollard, Trent Bolt, Rashid Khan, Tim David. I'm really stoked to see Tim David. Obviously Visa, the Namibian, the South African who plays for Namibia, Rabada and Nicholas Perron. And that team just looks so good. And that team also has the most players from the USA national team. So they're stacked with Stephen Taylor. Stephen Taylor's a guy that your listeners and viewers should definitely look out for. Left-handed batter, opening batter, bowls very good off spin, a good fielder, just a good all-around cricketer. The best domestic product we have since Bart King. So you're going back 100 plus years to find a better American-made cricketer than Stephen Taylor, but he's incredibly good, explosive left-hand bat at the top of the order. Watch out for him. It's a short season. It's only 5 games. I think he's going to play in all 5 of those games. They also have Kyle Phillip, who just took 3 wickets yesterday versus West Indies. They have Nosh Kenjige, a left-arm orthodox spinner. He's one of my favorite players in the world. Just tremendous. It's kind of the type of guy who always finds a way to contribute. Very good fielder. Yeah. So, and then they have the USA captain Manoj Patel. But yeah, all of these teams have so many big name overseas players. But I want to talk a little bit about the Washington Freedom because of the amount of South Africans they have, and 2 of them play here in minor league cricket. Dane Pete and Obus.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned Obus before. Both of them are tremendous. I want to praise Dane Pete here for being probably the best mentor of youth players in the whole USA right now. He's we started a show with him, myself and my friend Amin Patel, myself and Dane Pete. We started a weekly show on YouTube. But Dane Pete, tremendous. That's the idea of minor league, was to bring these guys over here, have them be mentors to our players, and have them kind of blend in with our domestic scene. And these guys have done this. I get to see them up close often because of the fact they play for the local minor league team. So they have experience playing on. This team has 3 games at Church Street Park, so they have experience playing on that ground. And I would look for them to both perform well. Andres House, his minor league team won the national championship last year at Church Street Park. So he's batted here. He's performed well here. Andres is tremendous. By the way,
Okay.
just looking at his overall career stats, you get an idea he can play all three formats. But yeah,
Yeah.
and then obviously Hasaranga, the over one of their biggest
What we
overseas names.
do.
Yeah, love that guy. his his numbers are just ungodly. It's
Mm.
ridiculous how effective he is, and one of the top all rounders in the world.
Yeah, look, the thing I think for us is the pitches and to be able to see what they're going to be and if they can be conducive to cricket.
Yeah,
Obviously, altitude being at sea level, could be won't be much of a factor unless if you decide to have a team. The next
sure.
franchise should be in Denver, so we can see if we can get like
Yeah.
200 plus scores.
Well, I say put the boundaries at 90 meters in Denver. Make it huge so that you get a little bit of everything, like they do with the base.
Yeah.
The baseball
Mm.
team there, the fence is it's the deepest fence in the league. It's the deepest,
Wow.
but the ball flies anyways. So you get,
Mm.
because you have a spacious outfield and you have a deep fence, you get incredibly high batting averages. So
Yes.
you would get that in cricket too, for certain. Yeah, that would be funny. That would be I would love to watch that. Mile High Cricket.
Yes.
Um, Obviously, the last time we had you on, we talked a lot about the variety in pitches in the
Yeah.
minor leagues because you were having varieties. For the major, it's a normal grass wicket. Am I right?
Yes,
For the
yes,
major
and
competition.
this is a great topic. So we have Church Street Park is one of the grounds. That that square was put in by a guy named Dave Agnew, who has worked in the CPL. He's worked in the
Mm.
GT20. He's worked in New Zealand, Australia. He's one of the best in the world at what he does. So he put that wicket in 2018, and he has been a mentor for the grounds crew there ever since. And he comes back almost every single year to make sure that things are going well. He's been hired by Major League Cricket to be the head curator for Major League Cricket, and right now he put in the square at in the Dallas Stadium. So
Okay.
he's done both wickets, and so that's an important thing. Now he's very good at. He does amazing work. He can make magic happen in a very short amount of time, which is very important. But the Church Street wicket is a very good wicket. It's a pretty neutral wicket. You can have every game that we have on at Church Street Park really comes down to the wire.
Mm.
Unfortunately, this is the thing about Church Street Park. The city mandates that the lights be out, that the floodlights be out by 10 p.m. So the games have to start at 5:30, which means whoever bats second gets the benefit of the dew that comes in.
Yes.
So that is a factor at Church Street Park. However, we only have, I believe, about 60% of the time, close to 60% of the time, less than that, I think,
Mm.
the second team wins. So it's not the deciding factor. And we regularly have super overs at Church Street Park. We had two on back-to-back days last year. With
Wow.
the games always go down. They're very exciting games. We'll have one game, a team will score 150, and then it'll go down to the 20th over, and then we had 7 games in one weekend there on the same wicket last year, and the seventh game they scored in the 200s. So it's a really very good wicket. It's a really well maintained wicket. You're going to see close games there, regardless of what the first. For some reason, there's something about it. Whatever the first inning score is, it's going to be close to. It's going down to till 20th over for sure.
Yeah, for American teams to come out with ties, that's a problem. But anyway, we've got a super over, so that that comes on.
Yeah.
I think my last one is Grand Prairie ready? I know they were renovating it and they were expanding it. Will it be ready in time?
It should be based on my communications.
Mm.
The ground itself, the grass outfield was put in a couple weeks back. The pitch square has been prepared for a lot longer than that. So you have really right now it's I think the thing that's they put the seats in. So I think it's just the little things that we don't think about.
Okay.
All the big things seem to be lining up. So right now, I think it's just the little things. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be ready. Church Street, I just went by last week. They're putting the stadiums, the permanent seats in as we
Okay.
speak. So these two venues should be ready to go. But yeah, they're cutting it close. I mean, they're really cutting it close. It's been touch and go. A month ago, I wasn't as confident as I am now.
Okay. Yeah. So
Okay. For me, it's really the nitty-gritty. When does the competition start?
mm,
And what is the most important thing for it to succeed?
yeah.
I think it starts on the 13th of July. Uh, that's a good question. How do you measure success this season? I want to see people come into the venue. We don't know how many people are going to come out to Dallas. We just don't know. And 2/3 of the season are taking place in Dallas. You have the first leg, then you have the second in Morrisville, and then they go back for the playoffs to Dallas. So I think having a break helps Dallas out a lot because in the USA we have had so many false starts with cricket that a lot of people hear something that sounds too good to be true, and they just tune it out. I won't be surprised if our first couple of games that we don't have great attendance, and then people say, "Wait a second, it's happening, it's real," and then we all of a sudden that second leg of Major League. I think that's how I would measure it. Would be how many people come out for the playoffs. Early on, I would say give them some slack. Morrisville's going to be sold. You're going to see a lot big crowds at Morrisville, or as big as it can handle. The big thing to me is, do people come out and get excited for the playoffs? That's how I'm gonna kind of judge it.
Okay. Yeah, Nate. I'm excited. I hope the listeners and the viewers are excited as well. Thank you very much for coming out and giving us a preview, essentially, of Major League Cricket. Really excited. Hope it goes well. Hope it is the next frontier, the next big one for T20 cricket. Because, yeah, I think T20 works in America. And long may it continue.
Thank you, guys. And for your viewers and for yourselves, if you want to learn more about these teams and these players, I'm Crick Fan USA on Twitter. My YouTube show is called Big Innings, which sounds like beginnings. But yeah, so check us out. We our most recent episode, we went through every single team. So, and then fellas, if you ever want to talk again, I'm happy to come on. I appreciate you having me.
We'll have all that information in our little bio there at the bottom. So, yes, Tim.
I was just going to say, we really enjoy having you on that, so we'll definitely have you on maybe during the playoffs or after the playoffs. Yeah. We'll definitely have another chat.
Or if Quinton scores 150, then we're calling you.
There you go. If I can get some good pictures and videos of these guys, I'll send them to you too, so that you can use them.
Cool. Thanks, Nate. Thank you very much,
fellas. Good talking to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
Bye.
Thanks, Nate.
Okay, you heard it for yourselves. Major League Cricket starting in the middle of July. So some cricket for you in and around the Ashes. So please do go and check it out. Tim, thank you again. And let's end it there.